Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the NYC Championships. We're here in the American qualifiers. Dragneel facing off against EnemyGG. It's a best-of-one series in the lower bracket. Winner of this is going to end up having to move on and face against FDL tomorrow at 1900 PDT, roughly about 2 hours from now. Well, I guess 26 hours from right now. I'm Lyrical Dota. Eventually, I'm going to be joined by Gorgon the Wonder Cow. I don't think that he's here right now. We ended up starting this series roughly how long in advance? We started the series 30 minutes early, so you guys get to see the game a little bit before it was supposed to be happening, and because of that, I told him that he could go out. He's walking his dog right now. Hopefully he'll come back in the middle of this broadcast and say, what the heck did I miss? And we'll see if he indeed ends up popping into this one. So I'll do a solo cast through this. Hopefully he comes back in before the draft is completely over. But as far as these two teams are concerned, we've been seeing Dragneel, also known here as Dragon Slayers, do really well. They were an open qualifier team at the Manila Major Qualifiers. They were able to make it into the lower bracket finals of that event and go pretty freaking far. Had it not been for them there only being one qualifier spot, I think that there's maybe a chance they end up being able to, depending upon the matchups, make it into the Manila Major. Like they were playing really freaking good, and then in their last series they didn't end up being able to take it because I think that their Mason ended up getting all of his internet gone. It was kind of a suspect situation, and it really sucked. But it meant that because of that, DC moved on, and Dragneel were just completely out of it. EnemyGG, on the other hand, they've been struggling a little bit recently. Not gonna lie, they had some trouble in Canada Cup. I don't know if they're completely out of that one, but it was something where at least they were picking like a lot of Lifestealer, a lot of Troll, and it just didn't end up working out for them too effectively. But as far as these picks are starting off right at the very beginning, as well as the bans, Lifestealer is going to be taken out of the equation, as well as the Axe, Beastmaster, and the Doom. That led us to the first pick, Slardar, followed up by the Lion. Oh wait, excuse me. First pick, Lion, followed up by the Slardar, Elder Titan, and then the Abaddon. So a fairly interesting opening. You've got the Abaddon, that's that offlane position. I think probably IX Mike, one of the more well-known players who runs this one fairly consistently and always ends up taking it first pick for his team, Team Freedom, whenever he gets an opportunity to. And meanwhile, on the other side, Dragon Slayers showing a little bit more of this combo that we've been seeing in North America. Elder Titan and Slardar running together in conjunction. And what you find there is the ability to find a really nice jump in with the Blink Dagger on Slardar, get the crush while the Elder Titan Spirit is forward and setting up the stomp, and all of a sudden you do so much freaking damage very, very rapidly, and then that sort of segues into a stomp afterwards from Elder Titan. You look at the way that it takes it, there's the setup time of 1.6 seconds, and meanwhile Slither and Crush at every single level is going to be able to make that setup work for you. 1.6 seconds scaling up to 2.5 seconds of disable, and if you're able to have those two spells work in conjunction, it's just incredibly effective. Last game we ended up seeing this also get paired together with a third pick, Ancient Apparition, if I'm not mistaken, and that worked really well for them as well. So it's going to be the Timber Saw banned out now, as well as that Slark. They're going to be both taken out of the pool. Don't want to have to deal with them, and I think that this makes a lot of sense. Again, the game that we saw yesterday with EnemyGG, one of the few bright spots for their team was Banana Slam Jam playing that Slark, and he got a good deal of farm. This team has actually got a pretty nice grouping of players. Sovereign, Frozen, also really high leveled. The Drizzle was playing great the other day, and then Lycan was a stand-in, and I think still is the stand-in who's playing for them. And all around, I think a pretty well-rounded team. Dragon Slayers probably the favorites going into this one, but it's a little bit, I think it's tenuous. I think it could go either way, and it really depends upon the draft and how well the rotations come from both teams. And at some point in time, I know that Gorgon is going to be popping into this one and start talking and trying to figure out what the hell happened, because it wasn't me starting without them. The teams wanted to start, and I figured, you know what, we'll just go with it. Solo casts aren't that bad. Also going to be the Batrider banned for the moment. The Batrider ban. I guess considering that Dragon Slayers is running already a very synergistic combo, they want to be able to have the Slardar and the Elder Titan in conjunction. That does sort of signal that if you can pull one hero out of the pool and just have that one pick off, then you run into a really difficult situation where you're not able to use all those together. So nicely done there. Invoker also not going to be making an appearance this game. If you think about the setup that you would potentially have with a stomp into something like the Meatball Sunstrike and then a Deafening Blast combo, maybe even leveling an EMP against that in the later stages of the game, it could be absolutely disastrous. So I do like the Invoker ban. EnemyGG haven't really revealed that much about their draft. The Abaddon as a core, most likely, although again, he can be played in the support role if you want to try and run him that way. More than likely, it's going to be in some type of a core role, though. I guess you could also run him mid and play it sort of how you do the Undying, where not run the Abaddon farming mid, but run him as that support that helps out the mid player, just throwing out aphotic shields here and there and getting pretty nice setups. I think that also the aphotic shield in general is going to just be a really key part of this draft, being able to go pretty balls to the wall. As far as Dragon Slayers are concerned, the other thing that you do need to be somewhat aware of with Abaddon is the early aggression that can come out with an Abaddon. They take the Dazzle for the moment. You know, if Dragon Slayers wanted to, they could just go Huskar. That would not be the worst thing in the world. Actually, I would kind of like to see that as a fourth pick out of them. Huskar's been making a little bit of a comeback. And if you think about the way that Elder Titan works, if you're able to burn through all of that magic resistance and physical armor resistance, like, you could potentially just completely own somebody with a Huskar. Of course, Abaddon's somewhat resilient to the damage that comes out there, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. So we'll see where they go next. Again, I don't think that this is... It's something it's interesting. Like, I always feel like when teams play against EnemyGG, there's so much emphasis on trying to shut down BSJ, and I think that a lot of hate gets leveled his way, maybe somewhat unfairly because of, you know, Dota, and that's the world that we live in. But he has shown that he can carry his team if he's given a fairly decent start. So I kind of want to see how this draft ends up working around it, because they do tend to play a very dynamic style where sometimes it's 4 heroes creating space while he's farming, or sometimes they try and get him involved early in the kills. As far as Dragon Slayers are concerned, you sort of have a similar dynamic with Mason sometimes, depending upon how it goes. Again, I'm having trouble because none of the players are tagged up as their actual names, so I'm probably going to be calling the players just by their hero names. We're not, as of yet, on the ticket, so because of that, it means that we're sort of stuck with system player, a character that I can't pronounce, Koyoda, XASD, sneaking. I mean, that's sneaking. Yeah, we're gonna leave the rest of those alone. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Tinker, really? Wow, 3rd pick Tinker. Blow my mind, why don't you? Huh. Okay. So how do you deal with this? Single target lockdown. Slardar's fairly decent, but you do still want to use a Blink Dagger to jump on top of him. If March of the Machines are going everywhere, that's going to be a little bit hard for you to be able to find that initiation. You can burst him rather quickly if you are able to find him. An Elder Titan, a nice little dynamic that they have there is with the Astral Spirit, you're going to be able to scout out that Tinker from time to time. So I do like that. That seems like it could be pretty solid. And an Anti-Mage is going to get picked up. Oh my god, that is a really big bubble to burst if they find the Mana Burn and then the Mana Void on the Tinker. God, that is so freaking bold, picking the Tinker 3rd. Are you kidding me? Like, that is the de facto 5th pick to try and catch somebody off guard, but maybe they were worried about it. I don't know. Maybe they have something weirder that they're running next, because that's the one way that you can sometimes run these in a best of one. You see some pretty clowny type of stuff coming out from people. Only 9 seconds left. They're going to go back for the Troll Warlord. What is this draft? I literally have no idea. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, Lion, Abaddon, Tinker, Troll Warlord. I think that it's just like, pick whatever you want to play, and we're going to run it.
10 seconds remaining.
This is This is going to be a fun game. I can't wait. I literally cannot wait. I'm going to take another little sip of my coffee here, and it's going to be awesome.
Reserve time. 10 seconds remaining.
Delicious, delicious coffee. Well, they ban out the IO because why not? It would be a really scary strat if they had all of that like massive amount of relocate and global presence. That could be pretty freaking disgusting.
10 seconds remaining.
So the one other element of this is that Troll Warlord, he's going to build Helm of the Dominator. Well, I don't know if you build Helm of the Dominator on Troll anymore. Nobody plays Troll except for this team, so I don't know completely what the build is. But he does sometimes get a good amount of stats, so Elder Titan's going to be fairly decent against him. I don't know, I think that he probably eventually goes like MKB. He definitely has to go BKB.
10 seconds
I think that he's going to be okay against Elder Titan. We'll see. Puck is going to be the one that we end up having as the 5th ban now. And Rubik as the last pick. I mean, they've got Teamfight Abound. You look at this, you've got Abaddon to run on in there, be a little heal bot with his Miscoil as well as the Aphotic Shield, and then increasing the attack speed with the Curse of Avernus, comboed together with the Troll Warlord. I mean, the thing that's a little bit weird about it, too, is that oftentimes when you pick a Troll Warlord, one of the reasons that you end up going for it is because of that Battle Trance and the ability to have that maximum attack speed, but nobody here from EnemyGG really wants to use that with the exception of maybe the core Abaddon. So that's one way that we could see this end up working. I don't really know though. Oh my god, and Mirana last pick. This is truly a 6.87 draft if I ever saw one. We're going to take down the overlay. Nobody's going to be in jail today. And we're going to be moving into this best of one series, lower bracket matchup, winner go home. Dragon Slayers facing off against EnemyG, and I'm absolutely, completely, and totally, utterly excited for this one. We'll see if Gorgon ends up joining me at some point in time. He's going to be walking into just a cesspool of craziness, and I cannot at all wait for it. So let's take a look at this game, how things are going to be leveled out. Again, I'm going to do my very best with the player names, but because they all want to be cool, they don't have the... I guess they're probably trying to dodge, like, stream snipers or whatever the heck they are, internet people. System player lays down one of those pretty nice little wards. Nobody from the side of EnemyGG is going to be able to scout that out. The run into the off lane, this is going to be able to see the Abaddon. I think that they're both going to spot each other. System player actually a little bit late to the party, drops down the ward, but that means that Abaddon is probably going to see him. Can they get out of the way? They didn't spot out. Oh, they did spot him. They spotted the Dazzle. That's too bad. Okay, so that should tell them... Oh, they're pinging that it's over here. The ward is actually over on this high ground. I don't know if you can place a sentry so that it gets both of them. Yeah, it looks like it'd be a little bit too far. Yeah, they're pinging that it's over there. So who knows? We'll see where they end up going.
30 seconds.
Mirana is going to be played in that mid role, it looks like, with Elder Titan roaming around, boots on him. We'll see how this goes. Meanwhile, Slardar, 500 gold in the bank. I guess he's going to be saving up for that Iron Talon, or... Yeah, he brought it out to himself. So Iron Talon, good to go. You can jungle with that eventually. Tinker mid, if you get out to a good start with this hero, it's going to be really good. And Laser is going to be fairly effective against the ET. If Mirana goes Ags, which seems to be the de facto build nowadays, I don't know if I want her to... I don't think I want to see her go Midas first.
I would agree with that assessment.
Oh, hey man, how's it going? You made it in time.
It's going all right. I'm happy. I got a little freaked out when I got in the apartment from walking my dog, and the game was going like 40 minutes early. But got here just in time for the buzzer. Yay. I'm here. I'm excited.
It's going to be good stuff. Yeah, the game started early. It happens, I guess. So, of course, a little bit of miscommunication, but we ended up making it work. What do you think about this draft, man? 6.87. It's the new patch.
I'm drinking it in right now because I obviously didn't have a chance to look at it at the patch, or excuse me, at the draft. I think that the Sovereign on the Abaddon jungle is a little greedy, but Enemy should scale into the mid game really effectively. So it seems like shutting down Anti-Mage around that maybe 9 to 13 minute mark might be the goal here for Enemy.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you keep on drinking in the patch because I know you're just fresh coming into this, and I'll also let you know that that Tinker was a third pick for EnemyGG, followed up by the Troll, and then a last pick Rubik. So a whole lot of shenanigans were going on in the draft. We had the last pick Marana and fourth pick Anti-Mage with the starting draft of the Elder Titan and the Slardar. So it looks like they wanted to try and prioritize this sort of roaming ET in conjunction with a Slardar in lane to level a little bit of pressure against the safe lane of EnemyGG.
Remember my number one rule of best of ones is
Okay.
that best of ones are crazy as shit. And last pick Rubik into whatever this draft is, it's a lot like what we were casting last night. There's a little bit of crazy in there.
Yeah. I think so. It's a little bit nuts. Lycan is going to move on over here and should be able to secure the rune with the Earth Spike coming out. Do they end up being able to get the Stomp? Yeah, they don't want to have to drop the Stomp into this. He might actually just be able to do a ton of damage to this Lion. Needs to be a little bit careful with the Rubik coming over, though. They're going to be able to pull him back. A couple more right clicks. Looks for the kill onto the Lion. Can they be able to dodge it away? They find it. Nicely played, but now sneaking. They want to be able to deny himself to Roshan. Not going to happen. They get the stun. And sneaking makes up for it slightly, but still hurts.
Yeah, it's not ideal. At least it was on a Lion Rubik, right? They can buy some more support items, whatever, with it, but it didn't go on a carry, it didn't go on a core. It shouldn't scale their mid-game plans up that much faster just because it gave up that first blood.
I would agree. I'm also looking up here at top, and Anti-Mage left completely alone. Like you talked about the Abaddon who has been doing the jungling thing. They're going to bring the Lion up here now to try and soak up some of this experience, but I'd be a little bit worried. Like, do we have to be worried about him getting killed off potentially?
There's no stun from the Dazzle. There's no stun from the Anti-Mage. Unless they dive into the tower, which would be risky with Hex and Earth Spike there. I think that he would be relatively safe hanging out in this lane. I just don't know what he gets done if he's up there. And I think, yeah, Abba is going to move up there. He'll have access to this camp. Now that the Equilibrium has naturally pushed closer to his tower, it makes more sense for him to be in this off-lane camp and then rotate over as the range creeps approach his tower, because that is where the bulk of the experience in the lane is going to be. So if you can just be over there when the range creeps die, you can get something out of it.
Totally. Oh, they do find the Elder Titan again in a little bit of a precarious spot. They get the Hex, also do have an Earth Spike available. If they want to use it, the laser from afar gets in on the kill, and Lion ends up picking it up. So again, EnemyGG doing what they need to do early.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of applying the pressure around the map. They obviously the Tinker getting over there with that heat-seeking missile helped a bit on that particular kill, and there have not been very effective rotations onto this Tinker, which is a big issue. If they can slow down his routes of travel, they can offset enemies' entire scaling procedure, but until they actually get somebody over here to do something about him, he's not going to be hurting into this Marana, really.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm a little bit concerned too now. You keep on having this ET roam around and see if you can find something, but it's two stuns that need setup to be able to land. Bottom lane, Sneaking is chasing, almost killed off the troll, but is maybe going to get bursted down by the... No, he's not going to go to the DOT from that poison touch. Instead, is just going to be able to heal back up, salves, and should be back to last hit in just a jiffy.
Yeah, and, you know, Abba rotating off into the top lane, getting some experience here. I think for Enemy, this is going about as well as they could hope for it to. The Elder Titan has been relatively ineffective in his roaming. This has not been a digital Chaos Elder Titan, right? We've seen exactly what the hero can do if he gets out ahead. We haven't actually seen in the America's Nanyang games so far what happens to him if he falls behind. But take it from me, we've seen it in other regions, in the rare cases that he actually gets played in other regions, and it isn't pretty.
Yeah, it could definitely be a problem. Nice little deny there for the Marana. Still, though, the Tinker's having a good time. They're looking for one Moonlight Shadow. They're keeping him alive for the moment. They do have the Earth Spike going to be able to hit onto the Slardar for the moment. Looking for a little bit more. No vid reveal as of yet, but they get the lift. Going to be able to find the stun also, but no kills. So posturing and positioning, but nothing doing.
And the one big issue that you see facing Enemy potentially in the future is that Anti-Mage is being still uncontested up here. We've seen how an uncontested Anti-Mage can really break down your overall scaling potential on this patch, or really any patch. He's one of the few heroes in the game that you absolutely cannot give fast farm to, because he will just hit a certain point where he gets that splash damage, or the cleave damage, and just explode into the game.
Yeah, I mean, 52
need to shut him down
hits in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? He's having a great time here, and left uncontested. Now Sovereign has taken a little bit of damage. Does not have his ultimate up yet. Anti-Mage is at level 7. If he wanted to, he actually
Probably
don't know
could
if
have
he's
killed
skill
him there.
points.
Yeah. Be fair with the anti-mage. Some of those 55 are easy camp creeps. So some of them are not lane creeps, but even so, he's absolutely tearing it up. He's got a solid 1100 over well, no, he's got about 700 over the troll and about 1,000 over the tinker.
So this is something that I find kind of interesting, and oh god, 3 heroes in there. They're going to lift back actually onto the ET, and the Hex is there as well as the Fade Bolt. Might be able to find him. Shallow Grave keeping him alive for the moment. The Drizzle looking for more. Can he find it though? No more missiles are going to fly out, and it looks like the ET is going to be able to escape. But what I was going to say is Troll Warlord, a hero that hasn't been around almost at all since 6.83 when the changes ended up coming out, where it was no longer spin to win gaming, but making a little bit of a comeback here. What do you think about this hero in general? Is it something that you're super familiar with, or what should we be expecting out of him?
I think he's okay. I think this is a really weird lineup to run him because nobody really right clicks in this lineup. Abaddon a little bit. He's going to try to move in on a kill on sneaking with some support rotations, a nice Earth Spike followed by Telekinesis, and that should be all she wrote for the Fishman. But yeah, Battle Trance is a skill that you usually like to stack up with 1 or 2 right clickers, and they don't really have those right clickers to stack it up with, which means that they're not maximizing the potential of this hero already off the bat. He did take a couple changes on 687, one of which was a very slight decrease of the cooldown, I think, for whirling axes, but only the ranged whirling axes.
Right.
It was like very specific. And then he gets 1 additional stack of his passive fervor as well, I think, which should in theory help him get Roshan a little bit earlier, but other than that, there aren't a lot of cases where 1 extra stack is going to win you any prizes.
And this is a little bit of frustrating also for the Elder Titan, that he wanted to go in for this stomp but keeps on getting hit by the whirling axes. So now he's slowed down. Previously he had that mischance applied and not going to be able to keep up with him. So a little bit of luck going the way of Troll Warlord means that he's going to be able to walk away from that one. Phase Aquila now, and is also going to have his Ring of Health. What do you think? Is this going to be a Battle Fury for him? Or Vanguard?
Vanguard, probably. Vanguard into... Well, no, that doesn't make any sense, because he's got... No, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing with that Ring of Health, to be honest. This is not a hero we see a whole lot. This is not something that we see working out that often. It could just be casual Ring of Health for sustain in the jungle. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very
I'm
strange.
Totally distracted, yeah. Rubik gets dove like a madman, though. That was some Olympic-style action going on here from Dragneel.
Absolutely. And still, I mean, the story is really this anti-mage continuing to farm. You do have Troll that's catching up a little bit, but as the game goes on, it is going to become more and more difficult. Anti-mage actually goes for the early Vanguard. Again, I kind of wonder how it would have gone if he maybe was able to go into a quick Battle Fury, but this is going to basically ensure that it's going to be almost impossible to kill him.
Yeah, he's going to have sustain in the jungle as well, so he's not going to farm quite as quickly as if he had gotten the Battle Fury, but he's going to be able to do it more and sooner, because Battle Fury takes longer to get online. So the sustain is fine if he doesn't expect enemy to really get going that fast. The Tinker has not been moved on very successfully, and he does almost have his traps up. That's something that you might need to worry about, but this Troll, I'm honestly a little dumbstruck what is going on here for BSJ. I don't know what his plan is, and it's hard to tell at what stage in the game he's going to scale when I have no idea what's going on in his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. It does feel like it's a hero that requires a lot to get online. It's a really difficult task making it happen, because I feel like you almost always have to go for a BKB early to be able to fight. But maybe that's not what they're trying to do, but then... Oh, actually, he might be in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of heroes here looking for him. They end up being able to dodge away from the gank that was coming in, and scouting out that that's going to happen. He retreats, still has those raindrops as well to make sure that he doesn't end up getting killed off.
Yeah, I think if the situation were to occur there where they walk in 3 in the Moonlight Shadow, you can have all the raindrops you want, my friend, because you're still going 6 feet under. The big problem here, though, is that even I've never seen a troll build that allows troll to out-farm an anti-mage and out-carry an anti-mage if the game goes to the point where he starts to get 4 or 5 slotted, right? Troll just, usually when he does go into the late game pretty effectively, he once again goes late game pretty effectively alongside a right-click hero on his team. Second time, man,
Is under attack.
these guys are just practicing up their pool antics, getting ready from the high dive.
I will say, though, that the way that this has looked has been a lot of times Dragneel roaming a lot of heroes into the jungle and not finding that troll. So they haven't been able to find that key kill that they wanted. I mean, I do have to say that Troll, if he gets the farm that he needs, like, I think that he can probably outfight an AM if it's just, like, beating at each other, but the AM is not going to be standing still for Troll to keep on hitting him. That's one of the things about them that's really great, is that built-in mechanism for being able to get the evasion and start stealing up the damage very rapidly with the fervor stacks and all. But I don't know if that's really going to be an option for him to actually stand still and fight that anti-mage.
Yeah, right. That is. It's a weird draft. How early in the draft did this troll come out? Was this like a niche pick? Okay.
After the Tinker.
Was all of BSJ standard heroes banned? Like the Alchemist, the Slark, the
Slark was banned. The Alchemist
Life
was
Stealer.
not. It was a very strange draft. I think that I don't know exactly what to make of it, but it's working out for them to some extent. Again, you're still farming so effectively on the enemy heroes that it's going to be an issue, and they're going to maybe try and find the AM. Not going to be able to get him, though. The AM was last picked, which causes issues, I think.
So he just goes straight into a Vanguard. That's fine. Gives him some survivability. He got it much slower than the Anti-Mage did. And if he does end up upgrading that into an Abyssal eventually, I assume that he's not going to rush an Abyssal. Unless there was some change that I was not privy to. Seems pretty unlikely because I do patch analysis. The Berserker's Rage stun won't stack with Abyssal passive stun, right? So it would be a weird item for him to rush into. It just seems to have gotten this Vanguard for the survivability of the item itself, which is in and of itself kind of weird because when you toggle your range to melee, you decrease or vice versa. When you toggle from melee to range, you decrease the efficacy of the Vanguard. So it's just a weird item in general for this troll to rush.
Well, we talked also a little bit about the Hand of Midas into Aghanims, and that is indeed what Mirana ends up going back for at this point.
She's got the time because the only serious potential carry for enemy went into a Vanguard first, which is not a very action-oriented item. He will be able to take Roche fairly early if he gets a Mask of Madness.
What do you think about the...
Or not Mask of Madness, excuse me, Orbit Mask. I think the Tinker's great. I don't think he's doing very much right now. Eventually, the mischance on the Anti-Mage is going to be a pain in the butt. The potential split push and the burst damage will be an issue, but with the Dazzle in the game and with Anti-Mage continuing to free farm, he's got 154 last hits at 14 minutes. He's almost got 8,000 net worth. And he's almost got his Battle Fury up alongside his Vanguard already at 14 minutes. A Tinker would have to have some pretty sick moves to single-handedly make up for that deficit.
Well, and of course, there's the later on in the game also that natural spell shield increasing the magical resistance. So I kind of think that you have to go for the Hex build maybe instead of the E-Blade Dagon type of stuff. What's your read on that? A lot of times we've been seeing the Tinkers go nowadays for Aghanims even with an Aether Lens in there as well.
Yeah, so the Ags works pretty well if you could do Ags Aether into a lot of right-click oriented heroes. So you might see it into something like a Syllabear, right? Into a Lone Druid. Because I guess it would work okay for Mirana, but she is a ranged hero, which means she'll probably be outside of the range of the Refraction a lot of the time. You don't need to hit the Elder Titan or the Dazzle with it in the late game. So really the only two heroes that you're likely to hit with it and that you really want to hit with it are going to be the Slardar and the Anti-Mage. So I don't think that would be an optimal build. I think you'd probably be better off being able to permanently prevent the Anti-Mage from being able to attack. He's the real problem.
Well, and that is one part of this, is that with the Anti-Mage getting taken, it's a lot of eggs in a basket. I mean, Mirana's going to do damage late stages, but you can probably burst her down fairly effectively. So if you do get like the Hex constant spam out from the Tinker, and then Troll's just able to kind of go to town, that anti-mage is going to get pretty quickly evaporated.
Yeah.
So there's pieces there, but it does sort of come down to them not getting ratted to death by this anti-mage who now has the Vanguard and Battle Fury and is going to start farming like a champ, even more so than he was before.
Yeah, we're only at 16 minutes, and this guy is sitting on 9,000 net worth. The Troll keeps finding him and like shaking a stick at him, but this is not... Anti-mage doesn't even care, to be honest, what's going on here. The Troll's been wildly ineffective so far this game. We've been harping on it quite a bit, but just think about the fact that Dragneel have not been forced to do anything this game. Enemy have not... There's not a single move that I recall seeing Enemy make that forced Dragneel's hand in any sort of way. We're at 17 minutes, and 0% of the pacing has been in Enemy's hands. And I think that largely comes down to the draft and build decisions that Enemy have made.
Well, it's weird. Like, I guess the other heroes that you could have potentially gone for would have been like a Juggernaut maybe who can go for some type of a push. I guess also maybe you could level some of that against the supports. Lion and Rubik found a couple of early kills in the roaming stage, but that was mainly because of the Elder Titan roaming into them. I don't think that they're in a terrible situation necessarily. They need to be able to find a kill on this anti-mage, and if they can do that within maybe the next like 2 to 3 minutes, then I think that they're going to be fine. But if they don't find that kill, then maybe things start to quickly get out of control.
Yeah, I think we're in the position now where already the catapult has been held back and the stone is in the launcher. Everything, all the potential energy is there for things to go wrong for Enemy. And a couple kills on the anti-mage could be enough to diffuse that potential energy. I don't think we're anymore in the case where we're talking about, well, Enemies still have time to divert this problem. They really have time to diffuse the problem that already exists. But not a lot of time. I mean, look at their supports. Both of their supports are a full 2 levels below both of Dragneel's supports.
Yeah, this is rapidly becoming more and more of a problem, and a DD anti-mage is also going to start to be able to farm very quickly through these Ancients. I'm looking also, they might even think about going into Roshan if they want to, and they are. They're going to take a quick Rosh, and this right here could be disastrous. I mean, Tinker just picked up a Blink Dagger. They're going to be able to maybe force some of these towers, but honestly, if they get an Aegis on this anti-mage, he can farm so aggressively and then leave the rest of the jungle for the rest of his team to take. They do walk in now into the mid lane, going to throw out one of those Star Storms for the moment, and Mirana just showing herself. They're going to be able to kill off that tower. No gets the deny. Oh, man.
Yeah, so Troll Warlord did go into a Yasha. He's going to go into a Sanjin Yasha, it looks like, immediately out of this. That's more of a chasing-oriented build. You get the main, you get the move speed. It's something that you would get if you had a lot of opponents that are going to be running from you, that you're going to try to get a hold of, but you might not otherwise be able to if you're trying to avoid being kited. I don't really see that being the case here. He's going to be doing the running, if anything.
I just missed a Sundered Cabal. His anti-mage just completely evaporated the Lion. He is not afraid of a damn thing right here. Just showing off why this hero can be so effective. 12k net worth, and it doesn't feel like it's going to stop. I don't know. What do you do at this point? Like, do you just need to try and go for smoke ganks? I feel like continuing to farm with the Midas on the Abaddon might not be the perfect answer.
Like, what gank? You smoke up, who are you going to kill? I mean, maybe they kill the Elder Titan. He's probably the most vulnerable hero here. Snake Gank's just going to kill Frozen. It's just, why not?
Oh, Blink. He stole it from the AM, and he's going to have it off cooldown. Second, nice lift, and there's going to be the jump away.
Blink on Slardar, though, too.
For the moment, might be able to get it. Oh, nicely done. Fade Bolt from afar, and they find it. That was some sick plays right there by the Rubik.
That was actually a really nice Fade Bolt. To cancel the blink. And you could tell Snake King thought he got the blink because he started the Slithering Crush animation. So, right on the edge of dying. Okay. They avoided a death. That does not avoid disaster, though. That death would have been a pittance compared to the hellscape they're about to find themselves in when this anti-mage really decides to get active. He's got an Aegis, a Yasha, a Battle Fury, a Vanguard at 20 minutes.
Yeah, he is rather farmed right now. Again, 633 gold per minute. That's at the 21-minute mark. Like, that's pretty absurd. It's going to continue to accelerate as he's still got the mobility and the capability to take down both towers and creeps incredibly rapidly. He gets the kill on the tower. They did lose their tier 1 in the top lane, and Troll pushing this out again. He's still so far behind. They're going to be able to jump forward, get the crush onto him. There's the amp damage as well, in a lot of trouble. Does manage to get the spin off, so not going to be able to find it. And they get the bash, in a ton of trouble now. Trying to TP in. They aren't going to quite be able to bring him down as of yet, but the Mirana comes in as well, and they do finally find the kill. Troll goes down, and my goodness, this is a huge problem. Oh god, bottom lane Sovereign, amp damage. They're going to be able to find a crush, maybe, possibly. Thinking about it, looking for it. Don't get it as of yet. The rest of the Radiant is coming for this, and Sovereign's still alive, turns it back around, gonna be able to bring down that Elder Titan, so some small semblance of something good going their way. They jump back, are gonna be able to get the lift onto the Dazzle, pulling him into the rotation, but not gonna be able to get anything more.
This has been just a very passive game. I think Dragneel expected to have to be more actively defensive in order to buy the space for Anti-Mage to get what he got. And they were just waiting for Enemy to make something happen, right? They were waiting to counterplay Enemy. That was the goal with the Elder Titan. That was the goal with the Dazzle, to just let their opponents kind of make this momentum and then turn it against them like a judokan. I don't really think that they expected this either. I think they're as caught off guard as we are. Only 10 kills at 22 minutes is really weird on this patch especially. But particularly when you're into such late game carry potential as an anti-mage, which is not a particularly popular hero right now. A lot of late game agility carries are just being ignored. You're going for more mid game. And Troll Warlord's going to try to get him, but I just don't think he can, to be honest.
God, he yells pretty loudly with the battle trance, but not going to be able to find it. Mid lane, looking like there might have been something there, but they lose the Tinker. God, that's the thing, is like you want to be able to make something happen with your Troll up top, but at the same time you're losing another really key hero there in the mid lane. Sovereign dropping low, not dead as of yet, looking for the jump. They end up being able to find two. My goodness, AM is just too huge.
I really just want to PM BSJ, hit him up on Steam, be like, hey man, what's the game plan with this Troll pick? How are you planning on running it? But I feel like it might be too bad manners at this point. Like, it's clearly not working out. I don't want to rub it in on him, but just like last night's game, right, with Freedom, where they had that really weird MC Escher draft that ended up working out for them. I feel like this is the flip side of that. This is a really weird, just surrealist take at Dota drafting, and it's not working out for them.
I can see parts of it, right? Like there's little elements that are there. You got the Tinker for the lockdown eventually. You've got if you're able to hold somebody in place afterwards, the Troll Warlord who's just going to be able to burst somebody down. You build the Vanguard so that you're not going to end up dying in the early stages, so maybe you get enough farm. And like relatively speaking, he's getting some amount of farm. The problem is just that the anti-mage farms so much more quickly. I think it was more a great response from Dragneel than anything else. I don't know. It's a tough game.
I will say, you can imagine maybe the Vanguard is a pick to keep him survivable, because he feels like Troll Warlord has such innate damage because of Fervor and Battle Trance that he doesn't need any attack speed or damage items through the early game. But if that's the case, he should have gotten active as soon as he got the Vanguard and started killing people. If that's what he thought the build required, then that's the logical outcome. He should have been going to get kills. And really, at this point in time, Enemy has yet to go out and try to find a kill, I think, on anybody at all for the entire game. The only time that they've really found kills is reactively. And just look at this Rubik, just torn apart.
Yeah, that was the amp damage working pretty freaking effectively. Just got about 3 shot right there, and he was almost able to make something happen. He stole leap, but didn't leap away, unfortunately. Again, mid lane looking for something possibly. It looks like they're just going to call it off. This is such a devastating position to be at this point. It's a 14,000 net worth lead, and they're
Oh
only
my
6
God,
kills ahead.
I just looked at that for the first time and I feel nauseous. At 26 minutes, 14,000 on this patch, 15,000 crossing before the 30-minute mark on this patch when an anti-mage is on the other team. It's not like it's 15,000, you've got an alchemist running. You know what I mean?
The anti-mage has a butterfly. He's going to go in here and pop. Oh, my God. This is a huge problem. There's going to be the crush. He's going to go down. Oh, my God. What is this This anti-mage is so freaking farmed. All right.
The real bummer about this, too, is that there was a window. Like, they went super greedy. The Elder Titan did not work out. This has been a very minimal impact hero compared to what he normally needs to be in the early game. Anti-Mage is vulnerable for at least harass early on. The Mirana went for a Midas, so there's a window of opportunity to harass her out of the lane, right? But that, it's like the entire squad from Enemy passed that option by. They saw that window and they said, we don't need that. We've got a super secret plan coming up. The Tinker is doing what he can, but all the Tinker's done this game, basically all game, is just spam March and Machines in lane.
I think it's, again, a piece where he's going for this sheepstick as quickly as he possibly can, and he realizes he has to get this to be able to lock down that anti-mage. But it's not coming quickly enough. All he has right now is the Mystic Staff, and they're nowhere near being able to have enough farm to get him there. So, again, you have the pieces there of being able to have this item and the skill build that he's gone to try and farm it up as quickly as possible, but it just does not come online quickly enough to punish the AM.
Yeah, maybe this was the plan all along, Lyrical. Maybe the plan all along was get down to the high ground, give your opponents a big net worth lead, utilize the Tinker's March and Machines to make it impossible to break high ground, rubber band mechanics. Pow, bang, boom, we're back in the game, baby.
Absolutely. Well, you do see also another nice little combo Sovereign. He has the Aphotic Shield, which means he's still able to blink after he ends up getting hit. A nice little piece of coolness right there as well. But you're seeing now the Elder Titan go back for the Hood of Defiance, eventually into a pipe. I think this might be that eventual answer to the Tinker March of the Machine spam.
On the plus side, the Aegis expired a little while ago.
Oh? They end up spotting out System Player. Going to be able to find him. That was a Shadow Blade. The Finger of Death comes out as well. They are going to be able to get the Stomp, though, and now the Crutch follows it up, hits onto 2. Lycan ends up dropping. They also have the Earth Splitter. They steal 1 away. That's the amp damage, and Rubik, unfortunately, probably isn't going to be able to live through it. Aphotic Shield keeps him alive for the moment. Looking for a little bit more. They jump in now. Anti-Mage get in very, very fresh with this one. Sovereign is going to end up having his ultimate popped, and they still aren't going to be able to punish this. Anti-Mage has a Reaver, because that's a thing. My God.
Hey, they didn't crack high ground.
Yeah.
They've got all the time in the world to throw this game. Dragneel, really, like, this is the point where it's difficult to take a game like this and make it seem not one-sided. This is a very one-sided game, and I don't think there's anything Enemy can do. You could put the best players in the world in their position right now, and it would still... Their best chance is if Dragneel makes mistakes. And their really good players are capable of kind of forcing out errors from their opponents, mind gaming them, or otherwise making really strong positioning plays that bait their opponents into mistakes. But Dragneel still need to take that bait.
I'm looking at it, and there are, the pieces for it here. Again, like Troll Warlord, he's got the Shadow Blade, so he can maybe find an aggressive play. Like, they're doing the things that they need, but it does probably require a little bit of an overextension from Dragneel to make anything happen with this. The plus side also is that if you do manage to find a pick, that is so much gold going back their direction. I mean, killing the Anti-Mage is a Herculean feat at this point. But they're getting closer to that sheepstick on the Tinker, and maybe if they're able to chain those together and finally lock him down enough, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, killing the Anti-Mage would be beyond Herculean, but this game seems pretty Sisyphean at this point. And they're giving up the Roshan again with the Troll Warlord. One of the few advantages that this guy has as a hero is that he innately should be able to control the Roche bit because he can go in there so early with the Fervor. That's not the case. I don't really know what the Shadow Blade... If the Shadow Blade came out much earlier, that would probably get him where he needed to be. But now, So what, he sneaks up on somebody. Maybe he gets a kill on the Dazzle if he gets a couple lucky bashes. But other than that, he'll probably die trying to get a kill on anybody at this point, to be honest. His team is wildly underleveled. Anti-Mage is almost level 25 at 30 minutes.
He's pretty farmed. This is a problem. He's got the Butterfly Manta. He kills off the Courier with 1,800 gold on it. Unfortunately, that one was going to be the Assault Cuirass that was going to get finished off. My goodness, this is such a devastating position to be in. He's got a heart. He's got a Butterfly. They're going to try and do anything at all to control him. Hex comes out. They also have the missiles, but the Earth Spike is not going to connect. The arrow does not find a target either. But honestly, at this point, Dragneel are doing exactly what they need to do. They step back in again, are going to be able to take down that tier 3 tower in the top lane. Still Shadowblade, they do go forward, are going to be able to do a lot of damage to the Mirana, but not killing him off. The AM, not dissuaded at all from this, is going to get jumped on for a moment, but they just don't have any ability to stop him. They get the Earth Spike through, but nothing is taking him down at all. He has so much 3,000 HP. What are you going to do against him? The arrow hits onto BSJ. Oh, the Earth Splitter goes through, as well as the Mirana Ags, and that Starstorm is going to tell his demise, and that's going to be Elena Barracks. Oh, God. It's just such a hard game right now. They jump forward. Shadowblade not going to be able to find the kill. On the other side, Mirana is invisible in here. They catch Frozen, march the machine, still keeping them out of the base for the moment, but I don't even know.
The farm disparity here is so significant that it feels like you took Dragneel from a different game that was 25 minutes longer than this game and teleported them into this match. Like, you just poof, brought them into a normal 22-minute long game.
Oh.
And, yeah.
Lincoln's pops, but not going to be able to catch the Mirana. That was the Aegis down. Again, on the bottom lane. They're jumping forward, doing a lot of damage, but not nearly enough. Now also BSJ low, out of mana, out of time, out of health. They do throw forward another one, but the Drizzle is so freaking low. He might end up popping. They get the Mana Void, and that kills him off. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be the swan song. We knew it was going to happen anyways, and they get the lift onto AM, but not nearly enough. Sovereign's still alive for the moment. Can blink away if he wants. Now that option is no longer with them. They get the Earth Spike, keeping them back again. This is going to be the bottom barracks and tier 3 going down. They're going to try and TP in, see if they can make something happen with the Rubik here, but I don't think they can really stop him, honestly. Jump forward, 1, 2, 3, almost a fourth swipe, kills him off, and they do manage to get away on the Rubik. Only trying to go... Oh, God, he runs right into an arrow. Oh, no. GG gets called. A devastating defeat.
Yeah. I hate to be that just defeatist that early in the cast, but this was probably the most one-sided game that I've casted maybe ever, and I've casted a lot of games. This just that was an interesting strategy attempt from Enemy. It was bold of them to make that choice, especially in a best of one, and I mean that in like a favorable way. It shows that they're willing to experiment and they're thinking about ways to think outside of the box in the game and to approach the game to try and catch opponents off guard with unique and original insight. It just did not work out this time.
Well, unfortunately, they weren't able to stall out the game much longer. I don't know if it would have made a difference, but Dragon Slayers, Dragneel, they're going to move on to the next stage of this tournament. We take a look at what that's going to be and a little bit about what we're going to be seeing tomorrow. Shazam versus DC, the marquee matchup in the upper bracket. That's going to be a best of 3 starting at 1500 PDT, and then later on in the evening it's going to be Infamous up against Team Freedom in a best of 1, and then last but not least it's going to be Dragneel facing off against FDL. Unfortunately, this does mean that EnemyGG is going to be the second team knocked out of this tournament. The other one was not today. Any final thoughts before we finish this one off, Mr. Gorgon?
No, overall today I think we had a lot of really good games. This last one was kind of weird and a little slow paced, but you know, for a qualifier series in the Americas, I'd say Nanyang has been a rousing success so far, and I've been happy to be here for it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to tune it out here, finish this off with a little bit of music, and then probably going to shut down the stream. I think that we have some more BTS Summit 5 qualifiers SEA games that are going to be starting later on in a little bit, but that's going to be all for us as far as Nanyang is concerned. Again, Lyrical Dota as well as Gorgon the Wonder Coil. Follow us on Twitter if you feel so inclined, but more importantly, make sure to stay tuned for more Nanyang Championships American qualifier action taking place tomorrow. See you guys later.